People, deluded, I'm back. Blackburn's under 23s 4, Arsenal's under 23s 0, and it's around our 6th or 7th game without a win. We've conceded around 18 or 19 goals now, and I wouldn't say it's worrying, but it is worrying, and it's a far cry from how we started the season under Freddie Ljungberg. Going into the game, we haven't won in a while. I think we ain't won in like 5 or 6 games, like I just said, and we want to get back to winning ways. And obviously, under 23 football, you don't want to, young players don't want to play at this too long. So every game essentially is a cup final to show the Arsenal coaching staff or prospective scouts that you're ready to take this step up. For the likes of Bramwell, etc., they clearly don't have a chance in the first team. I say that lightly because things can change. So it's about showcasing yourself. Ultimately, it's about the cutthroat world. And we're playing a Blackburn side who, although I don't have extensive knowledge, whenever I look at the highlights, they typically do alright. Speaking of the game, in fact, before speaking of the game, it was nice to see Zelalem start. It was nice to see Amaechi on the bench, and obviously he got 20 minutes in the second half, but we'll get on to that. Would have been nice to see Vontae Daly-Campbell called up to under 23 football. But yeah, it is what it is, man, and they've got their reasons. We still playing three at the back. It's nice to see there's a clear. We're trying to play like the first team, so that possibly if any of these players step up, they're not out of place. I do think they still, based on that game as well, they're still having teething problems as you would at that age with football. But the game started off end to end, in my opinion, probably because we went behind in literally a minute. We weren't focused. It's a nice. Throughout the whole game, they actually looked like they're gonna break down our right hand side. Their left the best. They broke down our left. It's poor defending from us, and the Blackburn lads slotted it into the far corner literally in the first minute. And this is the price you pay for not waking up. And because of that, now the game has to open up because instantly, because they're young, we're gonna chase the game. Obviously, the players know that there's enough time left, and I'm not saying everybody's flinging forward, but we were very, in my opinion, we were very anxious to get the ball. We didn't have much quality on the ball throughout the whole game, but I felt we were definitely in the initial period, we were too anxious to get the ball forward to try and equalise and things like that, and that was resulting in us losing the ball, and it was just coming back on us time and time again. I felt our midfield. We had Gilmore, Zelalem. We have some great midfield players, but I feel Blackburn outmarked them very well and outnumbered them in midfield. But I don't feel we really got our play going in the midfield like we should. I feel we tried to play out the back, but it wasn't really working, and we could have probably gone long a couple of more times because it was just sideways, because there was no option or no movement, because we were being tactically outdone. There was no movement for the man in front. So when the midfielder getting onto the ball, they're just going back home. They're going backwards. The fullbacks and the centre halves are just recycling it side to side. Bramwell, forgive me if I'm wrong, and it wasn't Bramwell. I think pretty sure it was. Bramwell showing a willingness to go down the line, and he's probably from an attacking outlet, probably our best player. But it's all Blackburn. We're not testing their keeper. They're getting forward. They're having half chances. I felt sorry for John Jules. Like I said, I felt sorry for Gilmore, John Jules, Zelalem, Trey Coyle, because they couldn't get onto. It wasn't a game. I don't know what's going on. We couldn't get onto the ball. They couldn't showcase what they wanted to do. When John Jules, we didn't have too many efforts in the whole game. I can't remember the keeper actually being worked, but when we did, they'll fall into John Jules. But because they weren't really quality opportunities for him, he's snatching at them. There was one. Yeah, I can't even remember it. I wrote it down somewhere. Where is it, people? There was a couple. There was one in the first half where it fell to him. He couldn't sort his footing out and it went wide. There was one where there was too many men bowing down on him. So Tyrese John Jules had a couple half chances, but it's no fault of his own. We really couldn't get into the game, in my opinion, because of they're obviously stepping up into the first team or on the cusp of that. We missed the likes of Emil. Emil's obviously injured. We missed him. We obviously missed, in my humble opinion, Joe Willock, and we missed Eddie. But it is what it is. In terms of attacking phases of play, it just weren't there. The application was there. It's just I don't know what it was. We were just being outdone. We were trapped in our own half. We really couldn't get out of there. Took us about 20-23 minutes to get our first corner. To no avail. Bramwell, like I said, was showing a willingness to get forward, but it was to no avail. We're being tactically outdone. We're really unable to showcase our attacking talent, to be fair. And to be honest, I'll be fair. Probably the 30th minute mark, 30 to the 40th minute, 35th minute, 5-10 minute passage, we actually had where we got a bit of joy going. Gilmore was clipping some balls. John Jules was finding people. Trey Coyle was getting onto the ball, going onto the right hand side. The fullbacks were getting forward. We was having some decent play within that period. We just didn't test the keeper enough throughout the whole game, and more so within this. That being said, in the 40th minute, we were unlucky not to apologies, people, low battery. we were unlucky not to go behind because it forced a good save from our keeper. Not that he was able to do a lot of that within the game. So yeah, we were really lucky in my opinion to go into half time at 1-0. And when I was watching the game, I was thinking, okay, we've conceded 4, but where's the other 3 going to come from? Because I really can't see it. Because second half, I actually feel we started off well in my opinion. We were then starting to get passes together, then starting to create 2v1s down their flanks, whip some balls in. We're not testing the keeper or having any quality efforts, but we're doing more than we was doing in the first half, sorry. And yeah, to concede the second goal was another poor goal. Essentially, it comes from a throw-in. Like, it doesn't initially come from a throw-in. The throw-in comes. We're not showing any quality passing in terms of play. Olienka tries to. I think it was Olienka. Forgive me if I'm wrong. He tries to clear it, and it's a poor clearance. It's not a meaningful clearance into an area where it should be. And this is what it's about at this level, learning these harsh lessons. Because shortly after losing that ball, it falls to the Blackburn man, and he takes a long range effort and he bends it into the top corner. It's a good strike. Like, you can't really fault the keeper. It just shows you why you have to be switched on at this level. And we're 2-0 down. Again, to our credit, at 2-0 down, I felt we kept trying, we kept grinding. We played better than we did in the first half, but we're still not testing the keeper. I cannot sit here and tell you when we took a shot, like a meaningful shot, bar Tyrese's efforts that are not really troubling anyone because he can't get them off. Yeah, I'm thinking we need to see a bit more from Zelalem. I'm seeing Zelalem fight, but we probably need to. He's got it in him. He's got a pass on him. I want us to see a bit more. Gilmore's being outnumbered, and he's starting to get agitated, and he's actually trying to force things as well, which I was liking because he's getting things going for us. Like in the 55th minute, there was a long ball from Gilmore to Tyrese John Jules. But again, Tyrese is outmarked, so there's not much he can do essentially. Like, there's really not much that he can do. At 2-0, you're fearing it because this is what it's about. It's about how you start the game off well. I'll give credit to Blackburn. I felt Blackburn, like I said, created some great 2v1 situations down our flanks. I felt they cut us open that joy. Probably if their finishing was a bit better, they could have put this game to bed quicker than they already did, in my opinion. So yeah, 3-0 for 3-0 in the 70th minute. 3-0 in the 70-odd minute. It's a sloppy goal to concede. I can't even remember the context. A corner comes in. I think someone handballed it or someone's brought someone down. I think it was a handball. Either way, it's a penalty to Blackburn. My man steps up and puts it in. It's 3-0 to Blackburn at this moment in time. And again, similar to Arsenal on Sunday, first team against Southampton, it's silly. It's cheap goals to concede. This is the level we need to learn at. It's cheap goals. It's goals that don't really deserve to go in. Like the long range effort, obviously it was a poor clearance from our lad, but I'll hold my hands up. It was a banger. 2 of the goals, or in fact 3 of the goals, could have all been avoided. But this is what happens. So it's 3-0 at this moment in time. Our players do look dejected and tired and stuff, but they're still going. The 4th one comes shortly before the end of the game. Again, against the run of play. What annoyed me is that I saw 5 Arsenal players. I saw the 3 defenders and I saw the 2 midfielders. You could see the run the striker was making. Obviously, the play was out wide. The ball came in out wide, and my man tapped it into an empty net. But you could see the run he was making. And that's what it's about at first team level. You need to be calculated. Off the ball makes the difference. Everybody, the midfielders just let him run. I've seen Torreira and Xhaka do that first team level, so maybe there's a problem. They just leave him run. He's unchallenged. Nobody's following his runner. Centre halves are not looking over their shoulder. It's a lovely ball from the Blackburn lad. He puts it in across a lovely whipped low drive across our goal, and then you'd have to be an idiot to completely miss that opportunity. He taps it into an empty net, and it's 4-0 at this moment in time. One positive I would say is that it was nice to see Amaechi get 20 or 20 so minutes. He's a young player I do think will be in Unai Emery's thinking at least, or would have been involved at some capacity in Europa League action if it wasn't sadly for his injury. And it's nice to see, while he's clearly not match fit and clearly not fully fit, he looked to force the issue. He was bombing down the flanks. He had a couple good passes and stuff. Ultimately, it didn't make the difference, but it's nice to see him back. I wouldn't say we played terrible, but we played terrible essentially. If you lose 4-0, you did play terrible. Cheap mistakes cost us. Probably how we started the game, or our game management needs to improve, because like I said, we were a bit too agitated at times. We were probably cut open on the counter attack a bit too many times, and probably for all the goals we could have done better in terms of positionally. we didn't test the keeper enough. I mean, I can't tell you a save the keeper had to make. I can't. So in terms of creativity, it wasn't there. And I must admit, at this level, I do think the club will probably bring in a couple of creative players, and maybe a few defensive prospects. It was nice to see Shafe as well. I feel Shafe had a decent game as well, especially with his ball playing. Um, you guys know I'm not as harsh on the young players as I am on the first team, so I'm not going to be as critical. But it is what it is, man. To be 5 or 6 games without a victory is something that needs to be put right. It's important that the boys don't put their heads down and stuff, because definitely when we conceded the last goal, it definitely looked like it was playing on the players that, okay, they realised that they've been on a bit of a barren run of form right now. And this is what these young players have to learn. These are all things that's going to, whether they make it at Arsenal or not, these are things that's going to happen. There's going to be times they're going to be involved in the team and the team's going to get scrutiny because they're not picking up results they should. There's going to be times where they're overachieving, like we have at sometimes, and people don't ask questions. They have to deal with a lot of these things. So they say, obviously I prefer these lads to be winning and stuff, and I'd prefer to be the ones giving out the whooping than taking it. But you learn a lot in defeat, and ultimately Arsenal have. And yeah, man, we need to fix up, or we're gonna keep shipping goals, and our promising start to the season is gonna be undone. So yeah, man. For the likes of Shafe, I would say Shafe probably needs to consider his future. I do believe he's got an ability in him to definitely get an appearance at Arsenal and maybe even make it in some capacity. But if I look at him, he's gone on loan at Stevenage. We've got some similar to Bramall with the left back situation and the age they're at. Centre half, there's been a lot of injury crisis at first team level, and he hasn't had a look in. And at this age, I can't imagine what he's learning from playing under 23 football, because he's gracious on the ball, he can tackle. He needs to play against more seasoned pro strikers, etc. Obviously, under 23 football, first team members that aren't getting minutes, they play, but there's a lot to be learned. I feel Medley did alright today. But yeah, we just let ourselves down, and Blackburn were able to take advantage of it. But we go again, man. There's not much more to say on that front. Like I said, the thing that saddens me the most is I can't sit here and tell you if that Blackburn keeper's kit is dirty. I can't remember too many saves he had to make, or too many meaningful efforts that we took, to be fair, or even how many shots. I'd be surprised if we had more than 5 shots in that game. But they've got to learn from this, innit? This is what it's about. On that note, people, like I've said, Blackburn 4, Arsenal 0. We go again. There's not much more to say. On that note, thank you for staying and rocking with me. I'm out.